Yeah, so what's interesting about like how our sign up flow goes, like we get tons of folks who are interested in just anywhere in Bitcoin. Like I want to be in the space. I don't necessarily care about the specific problem. But we've also had folks who are a little too early. Like maybe they want to solve problems that just don't make sense yet. There's not enough infrastructure, but they're saying like, hey, if you find a team that is solving this really specific problem, I want to hear about it. Like I'm working on something similar now, and that's like the next transformative thing. And not only, you think of like the technical side with like your, Google, Facebook, Amazon, those big companies. There's also, we've seen quite a big interest from, your major financial companies.
Right.
So like Visa and, all the major banks, MasterCard. That's one thing that we didn't know exactly what to expect and hadn't really been involved in that space, but it's pretty cool to see the interest there. We've got quite a few folks that have tried to like make things move within their own company. Have said, all right, fine. If you guys aren't going to listen, like I'm going to beat you. Like you become kind of the enemy in a sense. So it's really cool to work with people like that. And these are folks that just whether they're too busy or are not interested in getting into the flow of interviewing. Like it seems like there's been a lot of value in enabling them to just like, hey, do you want to have this intro with the founder for 15 minutes and kind of gain excitement there. So hopefully, it's a benefit for not only candidates, but for founders who are able to sell their product up front, sell the vision, and we've been happy with the flow so far.
So if you're talking to someone and they've heard about Bitcoin, but maybe they haven't fallen down this like rabbit hole yet,
Yeah.
They haven't like gotten addicted to learning more about like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Do you have like some places that you send them to? You're like, oh, okay, you're interested in Bitcoin. You're not sure if you want to go somewhere yet, but you want to learn more. You should go check out like this, and this.
Yeah. So it's kind of a tricky, like selling Bitcoin to people is tough because it's, I think with a lot of technologies that are transformative and disruptive, you typically have people on either side of the extreme. Like I either get it and I'm way into it, or like, no, that's the stupidest idea ever. So I feel like I was late to the game, but in my short time, it seems like if I sell too hard, people turn away from it. It's like, I don't know, it kind of like resonates like CrossFit does. I don't know if that's a good example, but just like it's promoted so much.
Right.
But as far as where I've sent people, there's I forget the name of the guy who wrote the blog, but it's like explain like I'm 5 Bitcoin. It's on there's a post on Medium that does a really good job explain like basically it takes an apple and makes it a digital apple and kind of explains the the open ledger and all of that. So that seems to like that's what I used with my mom. She kind of like got it. So I'm big on like the mom tests for people understanding, because my mom is pretty averse to technology. But
she was probably more confused after she read it too, which is kind of I think across the board, where it's like someone's like, I don't understand Bitcoin at all. I'm gonna go learn something about it, and then they like you read the first thing and you're like, nope.
Yeah.
I know even less
yeah.
than I did like 10 minutes ago. I'm even more confused. Now I need to go learn more. And it just keeps
I think like you just want like one, I think it can be a very small like moment of like, okay, maybe I get that concept a little bit. Maybe it's not the craziest thing in the world. Because like, I mean, I still kind of lovingly call it magic internet money. It is that crazy. Like, so I try to kind of plant the seed and try to maybe understand have someone understand a little concept and then kind of go from there. But there's just, the rabbit hole goes way down. Like, so if you try to explain all of that in one sitting, it's overwhelming. Yeah.
So when you're talking to these potential hires, I guess, that are working at these major companies, you mentioned that they sometimes they're interested in doing things that maybe the industry's not quite ready for.
Right.
Do you have any, like, are there any examples? Because maybe someone watching could just go build that and then you
Yeah.
could go get more people hired.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, a lot of the ones that I've really liked were people who are building products that are on blockchain technology, but they're hidden. They're like, hey, I want to build this or that on the Bitcoin protocol, but I don't want it to be known that it's built on that. And
Right.
I think that's eventually, like, that will happen, and you kind of have this like, you do like Bitcoin and you didn't even know it moment. Because I think it's one of those things that the technology really does kind of speak for itself. So I don't know if I want to put out specifics on anybody in case they are building it and I'm like, become their worst
Revealing
enemy.
it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, really anything. Like one thing that's exciting for us is like the ability to disrupt like almost any industry is available. So you can build the Twitter equivalent, or Google Drive or Dropbox, or like some of that is being done now. But I think really, like, you can think of the product you use today, and like there's an opportunity to disrupt that in a sense, or at least make a side product that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't have to be one or the other, but there's some really cool stuff going on.
Yeah, and I think that one of the most interesting things about Bitcoin is that, one, we don't know who made it, right? Some guy named Satoshi Nakamoto, who's anonymous, made Bitcoin, and he's basically like Santa Claus, or like the Tooth Fairy or something, and that just is awesome to start. That's enough for me, actually. But then on top of that, we have this amazing technology, which is the blockchain, which enables both Bitcoin, the currency, but all these other things that so many things that we haven't even figured out, like, what we could do. Right? Yeah. It's like insane. And so you just kind of want to keep watching the industry and figuring out what's going on.
Yeah.
So if there's someone watching that either they have a Bitcoin company they're working on, or they will at some point, or maybe they're working somewhere, they are interested in working at a Bitcoin company, how should they get in touch with you to go do that?
Yeah. So you can check us out it's honeybadger.com is the website. And so basically we're like a double blind, kind of more high touch service. There are other cool, like if you want to work in the space, Coinality was probably like the first one in the space, and they're a Bitcoin job board, and have more of like contract work. So I think we're more focused on like full-time roles at most of the companies we're working with are like VC-backed companies. But there's a lot of opportunity to kind of dabble on projects and that sort of thing. As far as like what companies are looking for, I think Bitcoin also offers a unique opportunity that when you think of other tech startups, like there's typically like a degree that makes sense, right? So we still don't have like the Bitcoin college degree. So a lot of it is there's an opportunity to just kind of dive in and like start playing around with the technology and start learning. That you kind of create your own degree, which I think is a cool opportunity. And if you're in the Bay Area, we're frequently at a lot of the meetups, and it's one of those industries that's early enough that you'll meet founders at just about any meetup, people that are doing really cool things in the space. So I think that's another good route to go as well.
Maybe the requirement is if they've watched this entire Bitcoin course.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah. I think this will be something really cool. Like there really is nothing like this out there. I love what you're doing with ZapChain. It's kind of telling a story there. That's actually my new like go-to place if someone wants to learn about Bitcoin. I send them to some of the articles that have come out of ZapChain.
That's awesome. Go follow Derek on ZapChain.
Yeah. but yeah, I'm excited to see I think in the next year or two, we're in this phase where there's a lot of really smart people with their heads down building cool stuff, and it's going to change quickly.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for helping us with this Bitcoin course.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think that you talking to so many like super smart people that are already doing super smart things at really successful companies, and then they're going to go leave and do Bitcoin stuff. I think you have a super interesting perspective on the Bitcoin industry. And
yeah, and if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to, like, I'll try to get to you. I'm slowly getting unburied from email, but can
people tweet at you?
Yeah, tweet at me. It's Derek Minter.
At Derek Minter.
At Derek
On
Minter.
Twitter.
I'm very easy to find on the internet, so I stay on top of most mediums, but love having the conversation with anybody.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you.